For our next section, we'd like to introduce why we do and how we do it. Because technology as a concept is amorphous. It is the technologist's deliberate design and development that adds meaning to it. The three people you are about to hear from have always led a focused and a meaningful sort of technology development. The technology that is designed to have public value at its center and informed by each with a unique context in which it has to be implemented. I would like to welcome Professor S. Rajagopalan, the president of MOSIP, to talk about our work in the last 1 year and our commitment over the next 5 or 4 or 3 years as he seems fit. Prof.
Good morning. Let me start by thanking a few people who are invisible to us, but who are the wheels on which this train runs. You have heard about, say for example, today when we see Kingdom of Morocco, Ministry of Interior, many people in that ministry have helped to organize this. But I would want to recall here the role played by a large number of student volunteers. You would see them around ushering people in, providing support, So let me thank the student volunteers of UM6P for gently guiding us, supporting us, and providing all the necessary support. If I take MOSIP journey in the last 8 years, the unsung heroes of this MOSIP journey is our commercial ecosystem partners. We have 125 plus commercial ecosystem partners, device manufacturers, system integrators. We put them through fairly rigorous process before we certify them as MOSIP compliant and MOSIP panel partner. But if I really look at, on an average, how much business these commercial ecosystem partners have done in the last 8 years, it's very meager. Because identity projects, if you really look at many countries, especially we are talking about countries with 100 million and below population, and sometimes even less than a million, as in Sao Tome and Principe and Tonga, the value of the project itself in commercial terms is very, very small. It is under $500,000 for Sao Tome and Principe. So if 100 plus commercial ecosystem partners have to join this movement, money cannot be the only motive. So there is not much money in this. David Eves once said, governments in the developing LMIC countries spend about $50 billion a year on IT both infrastructure, software, everything. This is close to 100 countries, LMIC, who is our target audience. But if we really look at out of these $50 billion, how many are for DPI and DPG, which goes towards citizen services and public centric, you will find it is even smaller, because the major portion of the IT implementation in any country is in banking, is in services like passport, income tax, taxation, etc. What is actually public good in agriculture, health, identity, they are pretty small. But we see, year after year, when we started, I remember in 2022, when ID for Africa was held again in Morocco at Marrakesh, we had about 40 M-panel partners. Now we have 125. So if commercial partners are joining in larger numbers, supporting us, supporting the countries across the world, there is something more than mere money and commercial calculations for them. That our partners believe in this social cause, believe in inclusion, believe in delivering value to the citizen, and we want to part of the movement, and that's very evident. And that's why we are all here. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to commercial partners. And we thought that currently we completed 8 years, and going forward, we thought, how do we make MOSIP sustainable? Not from a money point of view, but from a very long-term vision. 20 years down the line, when we have MOSIP Connect 2046, Gates Foundation would have been wound up. Bill Gates announced that December 2025 is the last date on which Gates Foundation will exist. So the philanthropic donor community would be completely different in 2046 than now. Technologies would have also evolved. We can't even predict, we can't even imagine what would be technology. For example, I can say the way people are betting on AI, somebody might say 2046 that I don't need this identity system because very sophisticated AI engine can identify a person just by his voice or her voice. Already there are technologies, and my colleague Sanjeev has been working with 2-3 companies on trying to see if voice biometric could be additional biometric for us, which will also protect privacy and number of other things. I remember that last Wednesday, or 2 Wednesdays back, the US Senate had a hearing on whether US should also move towards age verification for access to social media sites. Australia has already enacted. Brazil has enacted. They are thinking of a technology, working with us closely on how to implement it. US is thinking of that. And as it happens, Google and Apple said that this can't be the responsibility of the service provider. The service provider cannot be held responsible for allowing or not allowing an underage person. It should be responsibility of others, including government. And Sam Altman, the maverick chief of OpenAI, said, we don't need anything. If people could show their face, I have the algorithm, AI will tell whether the person is an adult or not. I don't need to know name. I don't need to know social security number. I don't need to know anything else. Completely privacy preserving. I just need somebody to come in front of the screen. But that hearing is still going on. What kind of technology should be used and how it should be used, what protection, etc. Many countries in the world are now seriously thinking of age verification. So I can't even predict 20 years down the line what technologies will be, and if there is a MOSIP Connect, certainly I will not be here. But the kind of conversations will have a common theme still. This is the time-independent common theme. The time-independent common theme is that how an academic community, the industry, and the countries together, in spirit of openness and in spirit of inclusion and in spirit of learning from each other, challenging each other, can build very sustainable digital public infrastructure. And this fundamental belief, this fundamental theme will continue forever. And I have no hesitation in saying the academic community, the commercial ecosystem, and the governments will be there. I have no hesitation in saying that the path, as our chairman Chris said, this model of open science-based collaboration, creativity will continue. The specifics of technology will change, the specifics of delivery will change, but this will continue. In a small way, to create this even more stronger, we have started last year onwards to get the community involved in setting the roadmap for MOSIP, to actually contribute to the technology also. In this conference, you will have an opportunity to take a look at 2 hackathons we ran. One for our commercial ecosystem partners, MOSIP Create, another for the academic student community, MOSIP Decode, and those efforts which have been judged to be worthy of presentation here will be presented. I'm also happy to see that we have started collaborating more and more with the industry, even in defining technology, even writing code. I just want to announce that there is a small company in Sri Lanka, WSO2. I don't know how many of you have heard. We have started working with WSO2 to create some code. Now you will hear about e-signet. Ramesh will come and talk to you about. And we have started creating, learning from their past work on identity management in open source, especially their platform called Thunder, and how some of those learnings can influence, work, and make e-signet much richer, much better platform for everybody to adopt. So this co-creation, when we started MOSIP Connect, we said convenes, connect, and converse. And last year we added a word called create. But this year I want to add the word co-create. Basically saying that the 3 partners, the government, the commercial ecosystem, and the academic university will have to, in the spirit of openness, in the spirit of inclusion, and in the spirit of humanity, we need to all work with each other, with our egos slightly kept under wrap, and work towards the common good. And you will hear from our team today and tomorrow, and our partners, how this is shaping. Next 4 years for MOSIP will be how do we strengthen this co-creation across the world, across the countries. Yes, for example, Ethiopia has adopted e-signet for Verifida. We didn't even know. They just used whatever is available in GitHub and done. So that kind of thing. We know a lot of commercial solution providers, commercial device manufacturer. they have been also contributing, driving, and creating new technologies. Few years ago, I saw a very nice technology on iris-based authentication based on a mobile phone. So the mobile phone scans your iris and authenticates. IDTech was a company. So we hope that in the years to come, we would strengthen this partnership between the commercial ecosystem, the government, and us. And we would, in the spirit of open science, as was discussed by Professor Devabrata Das, create and strengthen the movement of using technology for public good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I would like to call upon Mr. Nagarajan Santhanam, our Chief Dissemination Officer, to talk about the work we have been doing with our country partners for the last 1 year and our strategy going forward. Naga.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's an amazing sight every year to see all the MOSIP family members in one room. When I say family members, not only the technology team from MOSIP, the country partnerships and the ecosystem and from the multilateral organizations. I take this opportunity to welcome each one of you and thank you immensely for taking this time to travel. Many of you traveled more than 24 hours and landed last night. So thank you so much for your commitment and support you have been providing to us so far. This is where we are. 8 years, 29 countries. I think the number is increased now. 185 million IDs generated so far. This is not a MOSIP achievement. This is our achievement as country and ecosystem. And I want everyone to just clap for this. We only enabled the technology. You are the one who really made this happen and moved it to the next level. Hats off for all of you for making this happen. I also take this opportunity to highlight our first successful brownfield implementation in Uganda. 30 million IDs has been already imported from the incumbent system into the new MOSIP-based system. I take this opportunity to specially thank Madam Rosemary, who's here, for providing the necessary leadership and push and making this happen. Yeah. See, why this is a major milestone is we want to build flavors of implementations of MOSIP so that for any kind of scenario, we can demonstrate that MOSIP is a de facto platform to be adopted, and this is a great start. Nigeria will be the next country, the large nation, who will be doing the next brownfield implementation, and there will be a lot of learnings that they will take from Uganda when they move to their implementation. This is where we stand, 19 countries in Africa, 4 in Asia Pacific, and 6 in LATAM and Caribbean. Okay. We project these fancy slides, 29 countries, so much in Africa, Asia. Is that what we are trying to achieve? Right? The number of more and more countries? No. What we are trying to achieve is the flavor of implementation that a platform can provide and bring in. That's what we are trying to really bring in, because the comprehensiveness and the completeness of a platform is achieved by the flavors of implementation it can really support. Initial days of MOSIP, say like 5 years, 4 years, there was quite a bit of feedback from the industry saying that MOSIP was only suited for small, middle-level countries, only for greenfield implementations, right? I mean, because the countries who adopted MOSIP was in that particular size. But now, we have broken that shackle where Uganda has done their first brownfield implementation. So this is a major flavor when we went through the journey of the brownfield implementation, we understood the nuts and bolts, that's really involved in doing a brownfield implementation. So, like we always say, our technology roadmap and our dissemination roadmap, we always take from the countries. We learn from the countries and we align it accordingly. So this brownfield implementation has taught a lot of things. So we have aligned our roadmap according to that to build sufficient tools and techniques so that the countries who follow, Uganda will be able to really benefit out of it. Is that all? That's not all. The M, modularity in MOSIP is super important, right? I mean, we always emphasize modularity. So that's why, there are many implementations now who use only eSignet, who use only NG, or only eSignet and NG together with a different ID system. So that is again a great, flavor, added to our portfolio. Professor spoke about sustainability, right? He really emphasized sustainability. One of the trends we are seeing now is the ecosystem, the system integrator vendor ecosystem, going and directly pitching MOSIP to their countries, even without, reaching out to us. I mean, this is a great progress, I would say, right? I mean, MOSIP can only do so much, but the ecosystem players here, they have a wide variety of platforms. They know quite a bit of countries. They're intelligent about the countries and stuff. So, in fact, one of our system integrators went to one of the countries. They participated in the RFP. They put MOSIP there. And after everything is done, after they won the deal, they introduce us to the country so that we can do a MOE with us. How does it look? So this is, I would say, one of the angles of starting path of sustainability, where, MOSIP doesn't really need to go to every country and, introduce about MOSIP and then, then bring in the necessary system integrators at the later stage. This is completely reversed. And we are seeing more and more of these trends happening, which is super encouraging. Right? So I think I would really want to bring this point here and applaud the SI ecosystem, for really doing this and getting into this. And also the population of implementation, right? You might have seen between last year and this year, we have added 3 small population country into our portfolio. One is Sao Tome, second is Tonga, third is St. Vincent Islands. So, I mean, all of them less than 100,000 people. So, this again is a flavor that is demonstrated that, MOSIP is suited for all kinds of countries. Of course, we are working with the system integrators very closely on the country to learn from this exercise and to see how things can be optimized, for small island nation. In fact, there is a separate thread, that we have spawned, to work with these partners and, to countries to see how things can be enabled. So this is a substantial, angle of how MOSIP is approaching this whole implementation cycle. We want to build more and more flavors. Like Professor reiterated, we want to ensure that you don't need to come to us at some point in time. All the flavors are there. The ecosystem is there. The countries are there. So you can really collaborate and then, take things to the next level. I'm not going to touch upon all the countries. What we have done now is, because we have 29 countries as we speak, and different countries are in different shapes of implementation, we have a bunch of reference implementations available using which we can extract the knowledge out of it, which can be made useful for the other countries, is what we thought. So that's why we have categorized countries into multiple groups. This is only based on the implementation and the experiences they have gone for, and there is no, nothing to worry about. The first group, we categorize them as scale accelerators. Of course, thanks to Morocco once again. We always start, because, even before we wrote a single line of code, Morocco trusted us and signed an MOU with us. Many thanks once again. Morocco, Philippines, Ethiopia, Togo, and Uganda, they have gone ahead, quite a bit, in their implementations. And they have gone through a lot of experience in terms of ID issuance. The most important part is, it is not only in terms of ID issuance. Quite a bit of use cases has been onboarded using MOSIP in their ecosystem. I mean, I want you to hear from the horse's mouth, Madam Rosemary, Yodahe, and people will come and talk about it. I mean, we are unable to catch up with the numbers and the use cases, quite honestly, like how Meghna had a heartburn. Even we from our side, dissemination, we are unable to catch up with the number of use cases and the huge volumes that they have done, in terms of use case. So again, for the ecosystem players, ID system implementation is one part of the game that you are looking at. But what we are now seeing is, because many countries are already implementing ID systems, they are in a mature state, we say there is quite a bit of opportunity in terms of use case delivery for these countries. So I kindly request the ecosystem players to focus, on this area as well, so that, the business can really benefit out of it. What we are also planning to do, I will cover it in my subsequent slides, is to come up with some kind of a overall GTM strategy for the system integrators, whereby they can learn on, how various use cases can be implemented as a reference model and, can be implemented across, various countries who have already implemented MOSIP ecosystem. So we call them as scale accelerators, because there is a lot of learning, that can be done from these countries because they are in matured state. What this means is, if one other country have a problem which is already solved in another problem, we are more than happy to, to introduce them to the other countries, and also to make them explain if there are similar use cases, even to make them explain, how they have already achieved it as part of their roadmap and journey, so that, the countries really collaborate and get benefited out of it. You can see there are a bunch of countries who are implementation ready. So my humble request is, we will introduce you to the scale accelerators already, so that you can really learn from their experiences and do it, especially Nigeria for that matter. It's a huge country with the largest brownfield implementation, 120 million incumbent IDs already in their system. So they can learn a lot from Uganda. In fact, in this past few months, Madam Rosemary will come and give a punchy talk. There has been quite a lot of learnings that's been, learned in Uganda, which Nigeria can really, really piggyback on, so that the implementation can be seamless. Okay. Initially, when we did the ID system, we just thought that we will build a world-class platform, we'll put it in the GitHub, people will download it, and they will implement it by themselves. Then we understood that's not enough. Just by putting code in the GitHub, we need to teach the countries on how to really take it forward. Because there are three aspects, right? Which really completes people, process, and technology, right? So we were only addressing the technology. So now we are getting slowly into people and process aspect as well, so that the countries can really benefit out of it. What is the real ultimate aim of an identity platform, right? It has to enable the service delivery in a very quicker fashion. So out of our experiences initially, there was a bit of a lag there. That's why we went ahead and built ING and eSignet. Ramesh will talk a bit more detail about these two platforms during his session. We built ING and eSignet so that the service delivery can be enabled to a pretty quickly very quicker fashion with very less cost. So we are seeing the benefit really getting reaped by many countries and the system integrator ecosystem by using this. And we also adopted a G2P platform, open government to person platform in IIITB, because a true spirit of a service delivery in a country is for providing benefits to the poor people. Of course, there are many commercial use cases like issuing a SIM card, bank opening, driver's license, all those things are there. But the crux of the program that touches the poor people's life is the G2P programs. So keeping this in mind, we also build this open G2P platform, and it is all pre-integrated with ING, eSignet, and MOSIP. So we have covered a whole suite of platforms using which the transformation can be enabled, the digital transformation for the country can be enabled in a nicer fashion. Because it's a DPI approach, you don't need to put everything, it is not a monolithic one, you can build on top of it. That's the power of and vision of MOSIP, being a DPI in the DPI space. For the newcomers, I know we always put this slide for people who already been here. It's a little boring for you, but for the benefit of newcomers, You can engage with MOSIP in two ways. You can do something called as, if you are not aware of how to do a ID system, or you want to experience an end-to-end ID system from the scratch in a POC, proof of concept or pilot, you can engage with us by signing a small memorandum of understanding for doing a pilot. We call it as a rapid pilot because all the three aspects, people, process, and technology aspects are ring-fenced and made as a beautiful package, using which, you will be able to guarantee do a pilot within 2 to 3 months' time. We will take the cost of all the key cost factors like ABIS, biometric authentication devices. MOSIP will take the cost and we will do the implementation for you. All you need to do is you need to source few people from your side, some laptops, table chairs, and some lights to capture your faces. That's all you need to do from your side, and some commitment to do this. So you will have an end-to-end experience of MOSIP, e-signet, INGI, in that fashion. And then you'll be able to make an informed decision. We always say in Africa, like seeing is believing. So that's what, MOSIP pilot will do it for you in a very, very standard way. And it's well tested so that you can't go wrong, if you adopt this MOSIP rapid pilot. Second is there are 3 flavors of national rollout you can get in and do. One is greenfield. We all know what greenfield means. I mean, if you're starting from the scratch, then you do a greenfield implementation. Brownfield is one, where there is already an incumbent system and we are replacing it or we are building on top of it, which we have demonstrated in Uganda as we speak. The third is an important addition, I would say, because there are many queries that comes from countries as well as from the system integrators saying that, hey, there's a country there, they have an ID system, but we need to integrate, use case using, INGI, e-signet, is it still okay? How do we do that? So that's why we have included, use case also as part of our national rollouts. We will come up with formalization of these things, in the subsequent weeks and months, so that, the system integrators as well as the countries can participate in this endeavor and take it forward. I mean, I'm not going to touch upon this. I mean, this slides will be shared to every one of you. That's why I just put it here so you can do a self-reading of it. What we want to say is we want to just say that it's a comprehensive platform. So whatever you need to do for your ID system is already available. I'll leave it to Ramesh to cover this slide as well when he comes back. Okay. A good innovation is only meaningful if it is adopted properly, right? So we have always been having this principle very, very, very clearly in mind. We all know that MOSIP stands for Modular Open Source Identity Platform. That answers by itself. But that's not it. That's not it. I mean, why we build MOSIP in open source? Because we want to avoid vendor lock-in, right? But is that it? If I build a platform in open source, can I assure that it is not vendor lock-in? No. What if I say MOSIP is open source, it is not vendor lock-in, but you need to use only this biometric device, for you to use MOSIP. What if I say MOSIP is open source, but you can use only this one system integrator who is capable of, doing implementation for MOSIP? That's again a vendor lock-in, right? So we want to really, really avoid that. We want to avoid vendor lock-in in all aspects. That's why, and enable sustainability for that matter as well. So that's why we enable a vibrant ecosystem of partners. I mean, around 130 partners are available, as part of our ecosystem. We have put in substantial effort into that, and it is not the end of the story. If a country wants to adopt MOSIP, who has a biometric device which is not MOSIP compliant, we enable them and support them to make their device MOSIP compliant. So it is not a rigid one. We want to ensure that more and more ecosystem partners participate in it so that the vendor lock-in is avoided and sustainability is also ensured to a larger degree. We want to give that option to the countries. We don't want to lock the countries to any devices or to any integrator in that way. Second is we come from university, so capacity building is a super important aspect. See, this ID systems are national infrastructure which will run for many, many decades, right? So it is very, very important that the people and the departments who run the systems own the systems, right? And learn the system to a larger degree so that the sustainability can be ensured to a larger degree. So we come up with a very comprehensive capacity building plan which is tailor-made for every country, because the skill set, the number of people, and the way they operate are very different, between countries. So we do a tailor-made capacity plan for every country, so that we ensure that the capacity building is enabled, to a larger degree. Of course, we support countries. We do three major activities for the countries. We all know we are given MOSIP technology as a platform. Second is we do advisory, we do capacity building, and we also do level 3 support. So when you adopt MOSIP at a national scale, if you are held upon any issue at a level 3 level, please be rest assured that MOSIP will come and fix that issue for you. So that is the assurance we give to the countries, saying that MOSIP will not simply do a pilot and run away. We will walk with you in the journey, until you become successful, until you really push us saying, no, we don't want you, right? So this is what we call as a recipe for success. We have a robust platform along with the global ecosystem. Training and capacity building makes it a complete package for you, so that, you can't go wrong in anywhere, This is a slightly outdated slide, like 4 months old. This is the amount of capacity building we have done so far. We will do more detailed work on this, and we'll keep publishing this as we go by. You can see that around 225 personnel trained across 10 countries so far. The training, many people have traveled to Bangalore, IIIT Bangalore, or online training, or we have traveled to the countries to provide the necessary training. The run rate we see now is every 3 weeks we see at least some 10 or 15 people from some country or other, traveling to IIIT Bangalore to learn it. And what is very encouraging is that learning is really shown in the work. They do. Let it be pilots or whatever it is. For example, in Nigeria, there were a bunch of 15 people who came even before the RFP was floated to discuss about the various aspects and nitty-gritties of RFP, and also to understand the technical details of MOSIP. That was super encouraging. That was one of the very, very rare instances where a large nation going to do a brownfield implementation, seeing MOSIP as a partner well in advance, and then coming and discussing with us. So we felt that really, really encouraging. Ethiopia and Philippines also, they are planning to do their migration to the long-term support version. So they send their real core technical people, 2 of them, to our premises, where we built a sandbox and we demonstrated, how to really do the migration. So I think it is getting more and more tailor-made, and people are really to understand, getting to understand the real importance, of capacity building is what we can really see. We are also having ongoing collaborations with university, the one which are sitting here, UM6P. Thanks a lot for all the support rendered by them so far. And University of Philippines and UNDRAF University in Argentina as we speak. We all know this story. Ecosystem is the heart and soul of MOSIP. And we really, really thank the ecosystem players. Professor covered it all, so I'm not going to repeat that. But from the bottom of my heart, my sincere thanks to every one of the ecosystem players who participated and who supported us and who are walking with us in this journey. My sincere thanks to all of you. We have few programs coming. This is not the end of it. These are only the basics that we have done. There are many certification programs which we are planning, advanced certifications for countries, because we now understand that the programs we have been rendering so far will no more be sufficient. We need to get more and more advanced into it and more systematic into it. So I think we are doing a lot of work on that. So I've not covered those things in the slides, but be rest assured in the next 2, 3, 4 months' time, you will hear quite a lot about this ecosystem improvements, from our side to you, which will benefit you, by the way. So just to show the catalog, technology solution providers, system integrators, small, large, medium, across geographies. So that is the portfolio we have built. So one good thing we are also seeing in system integrators is there are 2 kinds of system integrators. One is the larger ones who are capable of going and winning big deals. The other ones are medium to small, who are real technology players. We see a lot of collaboration, in many countries, when they are going and bidding and doing. So that's a very encouraging thing, whereby even the small companies, who participate really get an opportunity to work on this technology, supporting the larger companies. This is a extremely important slide. I touched upon a lot of strategies, a lot of journey we have undergone so far. The key topic now is enabling sustainability by empowering the ecosystem. We are very clear that this is the key way, a key aspect in which you can enable sustainability of MOSIP. We have learnt a lot. We have come through a long journey. We have come through a variety of implementations. So based on all these things, what we have now identified is we will continue to improve the platform of MOSIP, we will make it better, we will make it more stable, we will make it more performant and stuff, right? But on top of it, we feel that there are areas, substantial areas that we need to improve from our side, right? So that the ecosystem can be self-independent, because now when the ecosystem gets in and does an RFP or whatever it is, there are substantial questions that comes to us. They come and, write a lot of questions to us. Sometimes we are able to answer, sometimes we are not able to answer, because for us to even answer that, we need to do a lot of R&D in our labs to really come to that. So if you can see, right, for example, building runbooks, troubleshooting guides and stuff, we do have it to a comprehensive level, but you understood that this is not sufficient, right? There are more and more efforts that needs to be put in to make it even more refined. In fact, we will also call upon our ecosystem players and countries to support us in this endeavor, because there are many countries like, Ethiopia who have really contributed quite a substantial amount of peace to us. So we will also, look upon the countries and the ecosystems to work with us and to contribute to this activity. Robust monitoring is at another need we have really found. We have a comprehensive monitoring guide published, but we feel that that is not sufficient. So we will be working with the SI ecosystem to sharpen this. Better estimates. We are not here to provide accurate estimates for you, because that's the role of a system integrator, because there is quite a bit of nuance that comes into every implementation. So we don't want to touch upon that, but at least to the basic and above basic, we want to ensure that we have estimations, so that the countries and the system integrators can have a good starting point in terms of their numbers. Brownfield implementation support, yes, we have really learned a lot out of it, and there will be many tools that will be coming out of it. We will sharpen our existing tools. Things we thought in our technology roadmap that it can wait, looks like it cannot wait anymore. So we will prioritize all those things, and we will make it better. Troubleshooting guides is yet another thing which we feel we need to really sharpen up, in MOSIP. In fact, we have many of them, but I think it is not sequenced and it is not organized properly. So we will really put substantial effort, in these activities on that. Advanced training and regional workshop. This is really important, because with so many countries who will get into national rollouts, and many system integrators will really need this, is what we have found, from the accelerator country implementations. So we will work on a plan, and we will publish the plan to the ecosystem on how to really do that. Use case dedicated team we have conceived a use case dedicated team, and we are now coming up with the protocol on how the working modus operandi is going to be. If it needs to support a larger SI ecosystem in the country. So we are really working on that. Regional team is what we have always believed in, and we will continue to enhance it more and more in dissemination, because we feel that a person who belongs to that region will be able to connect with the country much better and the ecosystem much better than a person who is sitting in a different geographic location. So the regional teams will be spawned much larger in the next 2-3 years to support the countries and the ecosystem to a larger degree. Last but not the least, DPG to DPG integration is also super important, because we come from a DPI, DPG family. So we want to ensure that we collaborate with other DPIs, pre-integrate use cases, so that the countries are very confident to take it and adopt. For example, we have a very close integration with OpenCRVS, the civil registry system, and we have seen great success in Tonga, where MOSIP and OpenCRVS is implemented, and Uganda as well, where OpenCRVS and MOSIP will be jointly implemented. So this is a great, it's a joyful sight to see multiple DPGs collaborating and doing it. But we don't want the countries to wait. We want to be proactive about it. We want to integrate them in the sandbox, keep it ready, demonstrable, working, so that if a country says, hey, do you guys collaborate, we should be in a position to say, yes, we have collaboration, the code is there for you, the system integrator can take it and enhance the code to do it. So these are some of the going forwards we will be really taking seriously and doing, because we feel that the only way to sustainability is to enable the ecosystem. We have a bunch of technologists, we have a bunch of dissemination people in MOSIP, but trust me, so far, predominant of our roadmap, let it be technology or dissemination roadmap, is driven by countries, even now. And we have a very rigid priority, but if there's a country priority that comes in, everything takes a back seat. We ensure that the country priorities are, given the front seat. So what we will also do this year is we will build a country council, whereby we will form a council of countries, all the people, all the countries who have signed MOU with us, and we will start, collaborating with them in a very formal fashion. We were planning to do this last year. Due to various other stuff we were unable to do, but this year we are definitely going to take it. That's where this co-create, co-learning, co-developing, becomes super important. We are already seeing it in an informal way, where the new countries who want to sign MOUs with us, previously they request us to introduce us to the countries, but now they no more request us. They are directly write to the countries, because the country catalog is larger. I think Philippines and Yodahe get the most requests. So, I think that's a very encouraging side, but we want to formalize that. So that, you have a formal forum, you can discuss about it, in terms of roadmap adjustments and stuff. So this will be taken very seriously, and there will be a communication that comes to, all of you at some point in time regarding this. We all know this. I'm not going to touch upon everything, because, I took only the social benefit use case here. I'm not going to explain this use case also, because the countries are going to do it. I don't want to steal their thunder. See, you can imagine the amount of use case, that has already gone into the system. Trust me, it is very, I have lost it. I'm unable to count the number of use cases and the numbers. Kanwal is very angry with us, because he keeps saying, Naga, you give me some number, but it keeps increasing. So yeah, I agree with Kanwal, because we are really unable to track it. As part of country council, we'll also see how to collate it or put it somewhere, and so that the donors and other people can really get some visibility out of it. But you can imagine the number of use cases in terms of only social protection, not commercial use cases. And the numbers, from Morocco. Mr. Mapa and David were unable to come due to some presidential meetings. I really wish they were here to talk about all these things, but I think Joshua is here. So, see Ethiopia. So, I just want to stop here. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming and listening, and thank you once again for supporting us. Thank you.
Thank you, Naga. I would like to now call upon Ramesh. Great. Ramesh is our Chief Technology Officer, and he will talk about the technology development at MOSIP in the last 1 year and the way forward. Ramesh, over to you.
Thank you, everyone. And thanks to that big shiny light there, I can't see any of you. And that makes me very nervous. And also, I don't have a mic to move around with. So, I am very careful with numbers, right? So you would have heard 8 years a few times, but I think till the exact date, the clock ticks over, I will call it 7. But it's over 7 years. And it's been a very amazing and inspiring journey. And these are just a few small numbers of the things we have done. There are other things like we have done more than 1 billion transactions of usage of ID across all our adoptions, right? While those are numbers that are not giving me a sense of pride, but a sense of inspiration, because it shows what is possible and what we have to do, and that's just the beginning. And all this has happened primarily thank you to the efforts that we all have put in as a team, as a family, as somebody taking this mission forward. Naga said I will talk about what we have built. I'm going to be very brief in talking about those. Our focus has been to create a high assurance, highly trusted identity, something that is acceptable, something that will open gates, unlock access for everybody who has one. And we wanted to make sure everybody has one. That was our mission. To that extent, we started our journey by building the MOSIP identity platform. But very soon our realization was that it is not just sufficient to create the identity, but it is also important to help make it easy to use that identity. And that is where we built eSignet, an online identity access solution, and NG for a decentralized access to identity. In our mission statements and vision statements, we have always talked about ID-led transformation. In order to enable that transformation, we knew that the technology has to scale beyond just ID and access, but into true digital execution. At MOSIP, we don't try to do everything, but we have chosen our champion. Our champion is the end user, that resident, that citizen, each one of us. So every user-centric journey that is there in terms of digital transformation, we have looked at that and seen how ID can enable. Similarly, how can my personal data be also protected, shared with my consent, and make my digital journey easier, right? So that is applicable for every one of us. So that is where we also look at trusted data from a user-centric perspective. We are not looking at all data, we are not looking at data exchange platforms, but user-centric data exchange is something that we have looked at, and that is also enabled by NG. So we are offering solutions that can enable user-centric journeys for ID as well as personal data. And that is what these platforms have been. There are workshops and training sessions available here. I would request you to participate in them, get to know, deep dive what features are on offer, and how you can implement it, how you can customize it, integrate it into your solutions. I'd like to thank my team here who have made it possible for me to tell what has been done in the last 1 year, right? Because they have been at it round the clock, tirelessly, making a lot of things available for you. I can't highlight it all, so I'm going to just talk about a few salient things. We have been working on improving the platform maturity of MOSIP. We solved one of the major tech debts that we had, which was to basically move from an unsupported Java 11 version to a supported Java 21 version. Along with that, without changing any underlying database structures or any of the interfaces, we also undertook a major security and performance exercise, and we have tons of benefits to reap from that. All of this is now available as 1.2.1, which still continues to be the in the LTS set of releases. And I'm very happy to announce that till the end of 2029, we will extend the support for the LTS version. It was supposed to expire this year, but then we are extending it all the way till end of 2029. So that you can get the support, reap the benefit, and continue to base your implementations on a very solid, rock solid platform. We have also looked at how to scale the deployments, make it easier to deploy, simplifications, better documentation, more testing. A lot of this you would be able to find. We have started writing a series of blog articles around automation that should actually give you a sense of what kind of testing we are doing. So we are trying to actually get more of this information about our efforts out to you. You can please refer to our blogs as well as to our documents for more details. On the eSignet front, we started with a simple single sign-on access, just say, and a consent-based sharing of profile. But what we have discovered in this last year is that there are many user journeys that we can actually enable. And one of the things that we have done is basically completing the authentication on a personal device. Start with the online authentication and then hand it over to your mobile wallet for you to complete your identity verification on the wallet. And this is supported. And these are all part of evolving set of standards which we are supporting. We also have seen that many of the protocols that are available, like OpenID Connect, which is at the heart of this, are very large and very diverse. So we have been working with the community and the OIDF, the foundation, the working groups there to see how we can carve out a national ID profile, which allows for secure, privacy-preserving access to services using national ID to sign up and sign in. All of this with full testing, compliance mechanisms are in the works. Several enhancements in the extensibility, flexibility, configuration of different modes of authentication are also something that have been added. Please join our eSignet workshop to learn more about that. If ID was a very familiar terrain and eSignet was something enabling something familiar with national ID, wallets and credentials has been a roller coaster ride. It's so rapidly evolving and changing. Just keeping up with the standards itself is not easy. And there are so many parallel initiatives, everybody putting on their innovation hats and delivering features and solving problems in different groups. It's been a tough time keeping up. But through all that, we have persistently stuck to our first principles, looked at what is the bare minimum we have to enable, which is interoperable, which allows us to move away from paper into digital credentials, successfully issue them, be able to verify them in a trusted fashion, be able to share it, the user being able to share it with the relying parties. So we have built a bunch of modules in NG. And apart from the basic sharing, we now have added support for selective disclosure, revocation of credentials, and improvements to support more protocols, support more user journeys, making it seamless as an experience for the user. In addition to that, one big learning has been that nobody wants to take our code base, white label it, and use it as is. They all have their strategies and approaches. So what has happened is that people have started taking our SDKs, our wallet SDKs, verification SDKs, and adding it into their super apps or other applications to add wallet capabilities and credentials capabilities. So composability, the ability to build these features or your own wallets using our code base is something that we have enabled. So a lot more focus is there on building SDKs which others can put into their apps. So we may not see an NG wallet as is, but we will certainly see a lot of NG enabled wallets and applications out there. And I know for a fact that there are several initiatives where there are people who are using these SDKs and they have built their apps and all. And hopefully in the next time that we catch up, we will have a whole list of logos of applications that are using these components. More importantly, while all of this are available in the documentation and you can learn, you will be very curious about what's next. Our objective from day one has been enabling and creating impact. And how do we accelerate this? The way to do that is by basically making it as easy as possible, as simple as possible. It's an iterative process. Deploying MOSIP in the initial stages was really difficult. It became easier, it has gotten even easier, and it will continue to become more with improvements that come in. So we have to figure out how to iteratively remove friction. That is going to be a focus for us on how to use this technology, how to operate this, how to manage this in your runtime. So if you are deploying MOSIP, you have a national ID system running. Just deploying the software and just registering people is not going to be the end of it. We have folks here from the Indian ID Authority. They will share their experiences and all the work that they still continue doing despite having coverage. Right? The challenges never end. So how do we get best practices in place? How do we offer reliable identity verification so that it goes into the background and people are focusing on use cases and unlocking value? So how do we do all that? So that is our focus. How to make the ID systems you are building high assurance and high trust. How to move from paper to digital. How to make transactions happen in a matter of seconds rather than days of queuing up or couriering paper and back and forth processes. So that is our objective. We will focus on reducing this friction. Naga was saying that any good innovation is only valuable if we actually derive something out of it. How do we unlock that value? These are our efforts towards unlocking that value faster. We will have as many integrations as possible available out of the box. We are collaborating with other DPGs, but these integrations are not necessarily only between DPGs. Even private sector solutions can build connectors and make them available so that if there is a deployment of a use case, it should be a matter of just deploying and not of integrating because it's already pre-integrated. And that is possible only when we make sure interoperability is there and a simple set of standards are followed. So we will support standards-based interoperability and promote it. There are several efforts that we are proud to be part of, and most of you are here. We also want to make sure that this integration, people know that it is available. So we will showcase it at our experience centers, at the experience centers and the sandboxes that our partners run, other universities run. We'll make sure that it is there for everyone to see so that they don't go and spend time reintegrating. We'll also have deeper engagement with the countries to start understanding the use cases, the complexities, and figuring out how to actually set up pathways for easy implementations. How do we do this? Sustainability is not an easy question to answer. We have sustainability questions around climate, planet, and everything, right? And they are all still questions. We struggle with answers. But we have attempted to give a few answers to sustainability. It comes from my experience as an entrepreneur, as somebody who's built startups, built enterprise software, and now also having worked in government sector. Something will be used automatically if it's really purpose appropriate and great, and you can just blindly rely on it. So making the work that we do world class, best in class, is important for it to have great adoption. So we will do that. And once something has plenty of adoption, there are plenty of people who are interested in its survival, in its usage, in its maintenance and upkeep. How do we get that interest? So being best in class is important. We'll work on that, continue to work on that. Professor earlier made a statement thanking the commercial ecosystem for their support, and my heartfelt thanks to them also for staying in this journey with us. I'll digress and talk about my youth a bit here. I live in Bangalore now, but I was born in another city, Chennai. My grandfather planted a mango tree or a sapling, right? And I have, along with him, watered it for years together. But then I moved out of that place, moved to Bangalore. And now, whenever nostalgia strikes me when I'm in Chennai, I go to that place. The last few years, every time I've been there, there are different people living in that house. But I shamelessly go there and say, can I get some of those mangoes? Right? Because the tree has grown, it is bearing a lot of fruit, and this effort that you are putting in is going to bear fruit. But I want to make sure that this bears fruit for you also, and not just for some future generation, for others to benefit. Because at the end of the day, it's a commercial ecosystem and our survival depends on revenues. So our focus is going to be on seeing how to unlock opportunity. And we are doing this by doing multiple things. One is we are unbundling as much as possible the code that we are doing and promoting reuse. I have received at least questions from a dozen quarters in these last few months. Can MOSIP be used for functional ID systems? Can we issue passports or driving licenses or health IDs or education IDs and so on? And my answer is yes, you do it. This code base, we will now actually start looking at supporting how we can make it multi-purpose and increasing the utility value of this code by increasing the footprint of opportunity for what we are doing. With credentials, the sky is the limit at this point of time. The same for MOSIP. We want you to do it. We are not going to do it. Our mission has been enabling foundational ID, but it is there for you to take this and package it and realize value. And that means it is not about some 50 countries or 70 countries and 70 implementations. It's probably about 500 implementations or 1,000 implementations and so on. The ball is in your court. And we will support you. We will make sure that the platform gets fine-tuned to support additional use cases. Please bring in the requirements. There's a saying in Africa that if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. We had to move fast. We had to build something. We had to make something available. My friends from the Kingdom of Morocco were breathing down our necks with deadlines when they wanted to go live and so on, right? So we had to build something fast. So we put a team and we built MOSIP. We built all this code. But now, it is not about going fast, it's about going far. And we have started engaging with a lot more collaborators. We are making this a multi-stakeholder journey. We are going to be part of it, but we are going to be only a part of it. All of you are there together in it with us. So by broadening the ownership, by increasing the contributions and the collaborators, we hope to make it more sustainable. So these are all some of the things that we are looking at. An updated revamped partner program, which will help you go to market, look at packaging solutions for various sectors, publicize it. The marketplace also will start having support for this. And connecting the dots, we'll work deeper with countries, advisory bodies, to see how we can identify the key blocks of going live with DPI solutions and how to eliminate those blocks or address those blocks. For example, we have conversations where sovereignty, data security, cyber security, a lot of these things are concerns, right? And unless countries have comfortable answers to many of these questions, they hesitate in taking the next step. So how do we identify these areas? How do we address these concerns? We are looking at fostering conversations and finding the right answers, right? And the innovators are throwing out many options. You will hear some of them here. And we can figure out what is a good fit or what needs to change in those innovations and those solutions for it to become practical. Before I wrap up, just a couple of announcements to say that all of this is not just empty talk, but that we are actually acting. We are forming a general body of members, and which will basically mean that every practitioner out there, whether you're from the industry or you're from the government or you're from open source community or you're from our team or our partner teams, you all can be part of this, receive updates, be able to contribute, and we are starting a consulting exercise to figure out how we will also allow you to participate not just as a member of the community, but also in the governance of what we do. We promise that we will take that conversation very seriously and make changes in the next couple of quarters to increase your participation. We have, in the last few months, struck up collaborations where Infosys has offered to maintain some parts of INGI. WSO2 has agreed to contribute to eSignet. Asian Institute of Technology and Simprints have put up proposals for contributing to the MOSIP code base. And this is just the beginning. And these are people who came to us and talked about it. We are very open for others who want to come in and become co-maintainers and co-owners of this. We already have plenty of contributions from Cambodia, Ethiopia, and other countries who are using. And UM6P has also been doing quite a bit of work, and they have, Mr. Rafiki, I'll put you on the spot here, that they have also said they could contribute some of this back. So we are looking at many, many more collaborators to come in going forward. MOSIP is not mine, MOSIP is ours. And we want to make that happen. We also have, on showcasing how credentials can be used, signed up for a pilot called Fiber Forward with universities in the Netherlands, which will actually showcase how credentials can be used to trace supply chain of cotton, right from sustainable farming all the way to becoming an apparel in the shop. So if I go in the shop, look at a label and it says sustainably farmed cotton, then actually I know that I'm paying for something and using something that's sustainable for the planet. How to get that traceability done using credentials is something we are doing a pilot. So this is just the beginning. We will try and showcase sector-wise as much as possible, collaborating with all of you on how to unlock value, unlock opportunity, and make progress. Thank you so much for your time.